A very good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to you all for the third joint program between IIF Chennai chapter and Madras Management Association. We've been doing these management series where we inculcate management theories and programs to our foundrymen. So to get things started, may I now request our Chennai chapter chairman, Mr. Saktivel Karasu, to welcome the gathering.
Good evening, everyone. So first of all, my thanks for all of you to coming here. As Vignesh told, it's a series of program we are doing with MMA. Today is somewhat a unique program. So we started with conflict. So I talked with MMA and they said we have the right people to deliver this talk to you. And I have been interacting with this sir for maybe more than a month. It's also third postponement, right, sir?
This is just first one.
First one, no. Okay, so after a great difficulty that we have gone through that, even we have been thinking whether to postpone today also, seeing a bad weather yesterday. But we decided on 10 o'clock yesterday night to go ahead, whatever let it be. So we are today, so let us see the day's proceeding. It's going to be very interesting because conflict is a part of parcel of life. Without conflict, there is nothing will evolve. So that will always be a conflict. How to come across, how to go through, how to face the conflict is the main agenda everywhere in our life. Either in the home or in our work, conflict is a part of it. You cannot avoid. So managing them. Sometimes I learned that when I am on a management program, how to create a conflict also. Because when you are in a normal situation, you won't get results. So they will create a smaller conflict within to resolve the issues. So that is also some other subject. Let us not get into that. So today we are going to see how the conflict is being managed about. So with that, I welcome you all, especially Mr. T.S. Rao from MEL. It was a long time I have been requesting him to come for our Chennai office. Welcome, sir. My special and for you, thank you for coming. And let us enjoy the evening's program. And one more thing is 37th chapter day celebration is on a full swing. As a part of it, we went for an industrial visit today morning for value amalgamation, value clutch division, and later in the evening at Ashok Leyland Foundry. It's a really very good experience. This is the first time we are going for a non-foundry, so maybe not be first time, but maybe year after we should have one more. Every visit should have other non-foundry also, because the learning is great. Whatever the best practices in terms of quality, safety and environment we can capture, and at least we can able to implement them in our own organizations. That is it. And we have a Iron Symposium coming up next week, same day as Saturday morning at MMA. There's a lot of good papers are in line with that symposium. Then we have a CAS quiz program in the evening for chapter CAS quiz. Then 24th we have a Southern Region CAS quiz as well as a chapter day celebration. So I once again welcome you all for this program also. Please be there and enjoy. We do a lot of programs, and also we come up with everyday weekly program, 2:30 in online. All very, very useful, and across the country there was a very good appreciation for our programs. Basically everything is on a technically sharp load person. Last week we had a temperature measurement and heat treatment. Really useful program. A lot of learnings are there. So please log in by 2:30. You can do it through your mobile. In case it's not possible, please go to our YouTube, subscribe our YouTube channel, IIF Chennai. So far 26 program has been already uploaded. You can have a lot of learnings from that. With that, I ask sir to Vijaykumar sir to go for introduction. Finding.
To now introduce our speaker for the day, may I now request Mr. R. Pandi Murugan, Southern Region Honorary Treasurer, to do the needful.
Good evening, friends. I am privileged to introduce Dr. Vijaykumar to the August gathering. Mr. Vijay has an undergraduate degree in pharmacy from the famed BITS Pilani in India. He then obtained a PhD degree in pharmaceutical chemistry from the University of Kansas in the USA. He returned to India and spent the following 24 years studying psychology and spirituality. He researched the Enneagram and integrated J. Krishnamurthy's teachings with a model. Vijay has worked in 5 Indian companies, including a startup, where the experience only reinforced the idea that people and organizational problems have to be addressed before a company can succeed with the products and services. His recent experience has shown that startups and scale-ups have myriad business problems, and in order to address them, one has to understand the psychology of the people involved. He is currently associated with an English company called Resolve, doing business development and has his own coaching clients. He regularly goes to the gym and he keeps himself very fit, and he lives with his mother in Chennai. So I welcome once again Dr. Vijaykumar. Now the floor is yours.
That the meeting prior to this talk was very useful. So I was thinking you're all technical people, so but the conversation I had with you was very useful. So I feel a little bit more confident that I'll after all make some sense here.
This could be a warm-up.
Yeah.
Both the side.
Right. So you have some idea where I'm coming from, I have some idea where you are, things like that. So only for official purposes I put doctor, but you can just call me Vijay. If you're young, you can call me Vijaykumar Sir. So, before starting, I'll say one thing. I told Dr. Venkatraman that he called and said, I arranged for a talk on conflicts for you at the Institute of Foundrymen. And I told him, look, and he said like conflict management, how to manage conflicts or something of that sort. I told him, I don't do that. I have not worked on conflict management or anything like that. I said, I don't do routine conflict management. So my background is entirely different. I can talk about conflicts because I've seen a lot of conflicts in life. I know a lot about it, but I can't deliver something like management. And he said, that's okay. You just say conflict management, you can go and talk whatever you want. That's okay, he said. That makes sense. And I told him, say conflicts, I told him how when you're completely aware, there are no conflicts. And he said, if you just go and say this to them, that's more than enough. No problem, you're okay there. So that is the idea here. I don't expect this material to immediately transform to some benefit, in the company. It may not be so practical. It will take years to get to where I am right now. So, but it is worth doing. I'll emphasize this. I'll say it one more time at the end of my talk. You got to do this. Everyone has got to do this. I was telling these gentlemen that today's leader has to be at a very highly evolved level. We are not in the same place where we are 40, 50 years back. So we got to understand life, world, relationships, spirituality, everything in order to be a good leader and run organizations and save the masses. Oh, it's not audible, sorry. Okay.
On the recording.
On the recording, okay. So I got to speak on this?
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay, better now? Oh, stand close to this, okay. Yeah, I feel cornered, that's why I started talking.
Use the mic and come to the center.
Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, let's start. I got 1 hour, right?
You can take it in.
Okay.
You can
Use the mic, use the pointer.
Use a pointer too, okay.
Too many things to happen.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump right into it. The Enneagram is a psycho-spiritual system, okay? It originated, Ennea means 9 in Greek, and I gotta use the pointer. Okay. Ennea means 9 in Greek, and gram means written. So it's really a 9-sided written word. That's what it is really. Its origins are obscure. We don't clearly know where it originated, but it has roots in Sufism, Christianity, and Hinduism. I'll show you the picture of the Enneagram, the structure of the Enneagram in the next slide. But if you remember, some of you who may have a Hindu background or a Brahmin background, you may have seen your grandmother putting some figures on the column on in front of the god and all that. So to me, that there is a connection between Enneagram and what we know in Hinduism. I have not researched that part, but that is a little bit of a connection I know between Enneagram and Hinduism. Okay? All right. Now, it was brought into the public by George Gurdjieff. He's a well-known name in spirituality in the Western world. He was an Armenian who introduced it in the 1920s. He has traveled in Far East and all that, so he learned about Enneagram and all that kind of stuff. He first publicized it in the 1930s. He may have got it from the Middle East, Afghanistan. This is very important to understand. Enneagram is Eastern in spirit. It is not a Western linear model like what Newton and all those people taught us. It's an Eastern system. So it is very suitable for understanding human processes and applying it in our life. It's not the linear management model that we know from Taylor and all those people. Okay. Oscar Richardo, he passed away just recently, he was alive for a long time, he passed away just last year. He developed the personality Enneagram in the 1960s in Bolivia. Or there is some confusion there. Some people feel he developed the Enneagram of fixations. But whatever it is, he's one of the basic people who started his whole business. So this was in Bolivia. He died in last year he died. Claudio Naranjo, he's a Chilean psychiatrist. He was based in America, San Francisco. He went to Bolivia, learned about Enneagram from Oscar Richardo, and he came back to America, and he didn't publicize it. He taught that Enneagram to a few small, select set of people, to the oral tradition, by just talking about it. He didn't want the material to escape, to go anywhere. But being a very powerful system, it did eventually escape, but slowly a lot of people started learning about it and thinking about it. But he was one of the people who was supposed to have developed the personality Enneagram, or maybe he developed the fixations, whatever. But he also passed away in 1920, so he was also there for a while, but he died recently. Since Claudio Naranjo, a lot of contributors started coming up since the 1980s in America. Like Christian theologists, whoever it may be, they started researching the Enneagram, they started making contributions. Some of them have died, some of them are still there. But that is how the Enneagram idea developed. Okay. And I found the Enneagram in 2001, June, in Ken Wilber's book called Integral Psychology. That is where I found the term Enneagram. I had inherently, the kind of person I was, I knew these things already. But learning about the Enneagram in that book told me that I can look more into it. When I found out about the Enneagram, the website, at that time I didn't have much money to buy books and all. So I started looking at websites. I found that there's not much knowledge. There's not much knowing about Enneagram. There's not much, there's not much to do, what to work with. So that is when I was also involved in J. Krishnamurti's teachings. So slowly I started understanding the Enneagram from Krishnamurti, and I started understanding Krishnamurti from Enneagram. So in my mind, for the following 15 years, I was integrating the Enneagram and Krishnamurti. Naturally, it was so conflicting. Some in America, but my mind kept integrating it. My mind kept asking questions, trying to see parallels and so on and so forth. Okay? Next slide. This is the structure of the Enneagram. Sorry, I'm not using the mic, I guess. This is the structure of the Enneagram. So it's really made of 9 personality types. So there are really 9 personality types in the world. That's all. There's only 9. Everyone in the world, any part of the world, doesn't matter. There are only 9 basic personality types. You can ignore the labels, there's much more to it. But type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, they're simply called type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. No fancy name there. They're all arranged in a circle, which means you can move from 1 to 2. It's called a transformation. You can move around the arc. Or you can move from 2 to 3. It's called a transformation. Or you can move from 3 to 4 and so on. There are also lines within the Enneagram. The line is the area of disintegration. Type 1 disintegrates to type 4. When there is disintegration, there is tremendous conflict. Psychologically speaking, there may be severe pressure. You may have gone to a foreign country, you may have just gotten married into a big household, it may be a new education, it all introduces tremendous conflict. As a result, our psychology we disintegrate. And disintegrating from 1 to 4 is a way of coping up. It's somehow managing to run your life. Okay? If you move against the arrow from 1 to 7, you integrate it. That's a healthy thing. A type 1, which are usually very serious-minded, very correct, very meticulous kind of people, become playful at 7. Completely changes everything. Ronnie Struwala, you must have seen the TV figure. He comes across as a type 1 who has conveniently shifted to type 7. He enjoys all the fun and all that kind of stuff. So these are all movements within the Enneagram. Okay. So similarly, 9 can disintegrate to 6, 6 can disintegrate to 3, 3 can disintegrate to 9. There are really 2 structures here, 3 structures here. One is a circle, other is the inner triangle, and then there is this hexagonal thing. So these are really 2 structures. I won't be talking about this much today. This is a different topic. If you're interested, we can connect offline and talk about it. But this is the structure of the Enneagram. Okay? We can learn a lot from. I used to use the structure a lot to understand so many things. There was a time I never understood why is 1 disintegrating to 4 and 4 is disintegrating to 2. I never understood all that. I spent years and years and all that to get an idea as to what is really going on. I also used to observe people. I used to do a lot of observation, watch people, see people, how they are conflicted and all that. I understood a lot of Enneagram from practical experience. So this is highly practical in the sense. Millions of people in the world are using the Enneagram to improve their relationship. A lot of people are getting, a lot of CEOs in Western countries, it's not popular in India, but in America and Europe it is popular. CEOs and chairmen, they are all using this, they are finding it invaluable. This is coming from books written by leading practitioners of the Enneagram. So it is a practical system. It is useful, but you have to spend some time understanding it and learning it. Okay? Type 1, they are concerned with right and wrong. They are concerned with perfection. They are concerned with ideals. What should be? Mahatma Gandhi is an example, type 1. Type 2, Mother Teresa. They are interested in giving to get. People, they are very interested in people. If they have good quality people with them, that's all they want in life, nothing else. They rank people. Ambition, social dues especially are ambitious. Why I'm putting this is, if you are critical like a 1, and you also have to be liking people, it's conflict right there. It's a massive conflict. Once criticized like anything, continuous our criticism. I like one more than the people money to start people would get along. So right there is a conflict, huge conflict. So a transformation for 1 really is to become a 3, become a 2, start loving people. That's very hard to do. Doesn't happen very easily. Type 3, very status oriented, prestige, goals, success, achievement are very important. Rajnikant is an example. So hard work, coming up where they like looking good for the society, that's very important for type 3. Now, if you're going to be so interested in achievement and status and all that, how are you going to like people and how are you going to get along with people? So you got to go against something else. So again, right there, right here is a conflict. Type 4, they're very empathetic, they compare and compete. They have envy and longing. So, if you're going to be so achievement and status oriented, where is the chance of being empathetic? So right here is a conflict. So inherently, they all have these types in us. Although we are primarily one type, for example, I was 5 for a long time and all that. So although we are primarily one type, we have all the types in us. All types are very I would conflict was there. Same with type 5. Albert Einstein, J. Krishnamurti are examples. Thinking, intellect are all very important. If you're going to think and use your intellect so much, where is the chance of being empathetic or where will you keep longing for this and that? Not likely. Type 6, Kamal Hassan is an example. Worry, anxiety, analysis, family very important. Okay, but if you're going to worry so much about your family and social cohesion and all that, where will you find time to think and use your intellect? Not likely. So again, there's a conflict. Type 7, Vijaykumar is an example. Pleasure, future, ideas, they have a scattered mind. So I've deliberately put some negative qualities and positive qualities, if you notice. So if you're going to be so caring about your family and social cohesion and all that, where is the time for ideas and future and speedwork kind of activities? Not likely, so there's a conflict right here. Type 8, power, authority, affection, leadership. Again, if you're so oriented towards pleasure and ideas and so on, where is the time for leadership? Again, there's a conflict. Type 9, they're conflict avoided. Psychologically, they don't want conflict. But at the conflict, I don't worry about that too. And now I keep long. So peace they like tolerance. But if they're going to be so peace and doing oriented, where is the time for leadership? Right here is a conflict. So within us, there is a huge source of conflict. Unless we work on ourselves, do something about our inner qualities, inner alignment, we're not likely to minimize these qualities, these conflicts at all. Okay. Now, this is a little practical. Maybe you can consider using it in your offices, in your establishments. And I'm giving you only 3 or 4 examples. So there can be a conflict between each type. So you can think of 1 and 6, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 9, 5 and 6. Like that you can come up with so many combinations. But the important point I want to make here is, you have to look at the basic structure of the person before resolving the conflict. normal conflict resolution that I have been exposed to, they look at superficially what the person is doing. Oh, this beta vandana, wife is thittnala, adu mari da andha mariye pogum. Andha mari superficial ah paatha conflict சரியா resolve பண்ண முடியாது. You have to look at the basics, and that is where the Enneagram is invaluable. It's a perfect map of the psychology of the person. It will tell you exactly what is the problem here, and it will make you look at it. So next time you have a conflict in the office, you don't have to know the Enneagram or type people and all that, that's advanced, but just look at the basically, what is the fundamental thing issuing here? In an apartment complex, there are 8 or 7 or the 7 wants freedom, 7 wants happiness, like enjoyment, excitement and so on. But 8 is always restricting. They want restriction all the time, they want discipline. The 7 times the restriction, discipline, whatever. But 8 is one of the particularly there, but பயங்கர கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் வரும். எனக்கு தான் புரியும், நான் இதெல்லாம் படிச்சிருந்தாலும் எனக்கு புரியும், நான் கம்மியாக இருப்பேன், நான் போய் இன்வால்வ் ஆக மாட்டேன். ஆனால் அவங்களுக்குள்ள பயங்கரமாக கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் வரும். Because fundamentally they are different. And no one steps up and says, look, this is what you are, you want enjoyment and so on, whereas this man is restricting you, that is why the conflict is. சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க யாரும், அவ்வளோ ஈஸியாக. பட் சொல்ல ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்கன்னா, once conflict தைரியமாக மீட் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டோம்னா, then we can slowly get a grip on it and we can live a better life. This is my understanding. So, ones are sometimes independent, while the 6 may want them to listen to him. That's never they independent. I know பண்ணுவாங்க. அவங்க நீ சொன்னா பண்ணுதான் கேட்கணும்னா கேட்பாங்க. கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. ஆனா அந்த நேரத்துல கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் பண்ணி போயிட்டே இருக்கும். Ones may have advanced ability to inverse and see results and so on, while the 6 may be very conservative. Ones may be thinking about rightness, right or wrong, நிறைய ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருப்பாங்க, while the 6 is feeling insecure. ஏற்கனவே இன்செக்யூரா இருக்கும்போது அவங்க ரைட் அண்ட் ராங்கா பத்தி பேசுறேன்னா இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஐ டோன்ட் வாட் டு ஹேப்பன். He will become very violent. I have actually seen it happen in my life. I was one when I was young and I transformed to a 5, so I know these things very well. Ones may be moralistic while the 6 is socially cohesive. There was a conflict between Arvind Kejriwal and Umesh Yadav. There was a Yadav. Actually, Samudaaya. There was a person associated with this group. They had a massive conflict. He came across as a 1 to the other, whereas Kejriwal is a 6. So Kejriwal wanted to get along the party and get moving things and start operating things, whereas he was being moralistic. So the massive conflict. Unless we understand the fundamental issue, what is bothering, we are not likely to resolve the conflict at all. Once we push for work, while the 6 is not able to work at all, that's a negative conflict. 6s may want to teach பண்ணலாம், ஏதோ it may not be maybe irrelevant to the situation, but the personality has such a grip on you, it wants to teach. Ones may not like the teaching at all, they want to get going, வேலை பண்ண முடி ப்ராப்ளம் சாப்பிட்டு போகலான்னு பார்ப்பாங்க, இவங்க டீச் பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. Massive conflict. Okay. Same type, one type, but this time it's a 3. Ones are truthful, they're honest people. Of all types, they are the most honest. Well, the 3 may be deceitful. 3 deceitful, ஏமாத்திடுவாங்க சிம்பிளா. Low level கொஞ்சம் நிறைய ஏமாத்தினா கைப்பறீங்களா, அதெல்லாம் 3 தான். Ones may be responsible and hardworking. 3s may not care at all. Huge conflict. Ones are interested in living in the moment, while the 3 wants to leave a legacy. Ones are honest, while 3s may have an image. They want to protect the image at any rate. Ones they don't care about the image so much. So huge conflict. Ones are interested in correcting people, while the 3 wants to get work done. 3s are all about getting work done. So situation 3 போட்டா எப்படி என்ன work பண்ணிட்டு எப்படி முடிச்சு கரெக்டா போலாம் தான் பார்ப்போம். Once நம்ம சீரியஸா ரைட் அண்ட் ராங் எத்திக்ஸ்லாம் பேசுவோம். Taking conflict, massive conflict. One 4 conflict. Ones will bluntly say things, while 4s be processing their feelings. 4s are very feeling oriented people. They are very slow. They have to process their feelings. They have to know how they feel. They have to slowly articulate themselves. மெதுவா அவங்க சொல்லணும், அவங்க எக்ஸ்பிரஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க, எம்பத்தட்டிக்கா இருப்பாங்க, கைண்டா இருப்பாங்க, அதெல்லாம் இருப்பாங்க. ஒன்ஸ்க்கு அதெல்லாம் டைம் இருக்காது, பிளண்டா சொல்லிட்டு போயிட்டே இருப்போம். இன்ஃபேக்ட் 4 பார்த்தோம்னா யூ ஆர் டிஃபிஷியன்ட்னு சொல்லி டேரக்டா யூ டிஃபெக்டிவ்னு சொல்லிடுவோம். 4 ஏற்கனவே டிஃபிஷியன்ட்டா ஃபீல் பண்ணுவாங்க. அதுக்கு மேல நீ டிஃபெக்டிவ்னு சொல்லிட்டா they are going to feel very bad. Massive conflict between 1 and 4. Ones will find defects, while 4s are already feeling deficient. 4s are dramatic. Marlon Brando is an example of a 4. Sachin Tendulkar, Sunil Gavaskar, these are all 4s. They're very good. Technically they may be superb, but psychologically who knows what level they are in. We don't know. 4s are dramatic, while 1 may be straightforward. Straight எடுத்த கௌதம் பேச்சு போயிடுவாங்க once. Force பண்ணா dramatic-ஆ அதை பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. Conflict again. Once control the impulses, well, 4 are pretty impulsive sometimes. Once are doers, they're excellent doers. Force may not want to do a thing. அப்போ அவங்க எதாவது பண்ணுதுன்னு சொன்னா அவங்க கடுப்பிடிக்கும், அவங்க கோவம் வரதான், அவங்க கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் வரதான் வரும். Okay? 5, 9. This is an example of something outside 1. 5s have a great mind. 9 have such a poor mind. But I hope you don't find it really blunt and all that, because it's really true. Many 9s have a poor mind, that's a fact. Hope you don't feel bad about seeing all this or anything like this. It's a fact. They have a poor mind. 2s, 4s, they have a poor mind. But 5s have such a superior mind. Not always, but many times. Right, there's a conflict. So they would want to keep using their very good mind. Where the 4, 9 won't care for the mind at all. Any mention of the word 9, mind, and they won't then become angry. 9s become angry very easily. And that is what will happen if a 5 talks about his mind. 5s regularize information. For data, this is data, this is a structure, these are the patterns, these are the regularities. That is how the 9 mind will work, 5 mind will work. 9 அதான் கிடையாது. இப்போ டேட்டாவை அதை அப்படியே யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. இப்போ டேட்டா வந்து அதை அப்படியே யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க, அப்புறம் அடுத்து மாற்றுவாங்க, அடுத்த டேட்டா. இது யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க, அடுத்து விட்டுருவாங்க, அடுத்த டேட்டா. அது மாதிரி போவாங்க. பயங்கர கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் வரும். I was a 5 for the last 15 years. My mother is a 9. Massive conflict வரும். Daily மாற்றினே இருப்பாங்க. They keep on changing things. எனக்கு அது தெரியும். I want some steadiness, some efficiency, some stability in doing work in the house. But I won't get it from my mother. Massive conflict. 5 may not do a thing. They don't work on the structure, personality structure, work கிடையாது, doing கிடையாது. 9 5 thinking now. So they may not want to do a thing, but 9 busy doers, excellent doers, superb அவங்க. அவங்கள biology, chemistry எல்லாம் பண்ண சொன்னாங்கன்னா excellent data எடுத்து விட்டு போயிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. They're superb doers. Whereas, so you may be thinking, is there a way, and that is what Enneagram talks about, is there a way we can synergize these two people? Is there a way to minimize the conflict between a 5 and a 9 and make sure that the 5 is able to use the 9 data? That would be excellent to do. If the 9 keeps on generating data, the 5 is able to utilize it, see patterns and so on, that would be excellent. That should be the goal for any organization, any company. What type of person he is, what type of person she is, and can we synergize these two? But normally conflict vandrum. That is why the importance of today's topic. We have to understand the conflicts, we have to reduce it, only then we can think of synergizing it. Just like that, if you just tell people superficially, then you work out hours, we have to minimize the conflict. 9s are subjective, while 5 is very objective. 9 models are extremely complex. You can think of Einstein, Krishnamurti, and all those people. Extremely complex, most complex models. 9 model will be extremely simple. Easiest way of doing things கண்டுபிடிப்பாங்க. அல்லது cheapest way of doing things. ஒரு டிவி ஒருத்தர் வந்தாரு, யுனானில 30 நேரத்துக்கு மேல செலவே கிடையாது அப்படின்னாரு. இஸ் 9. அவ்வளவுதான். அதுதான் அது மேல ஒண்ணுமே கிடையாது அப்படின்னாரு. சிம்பிளா இது பண்ண முடியுமா அதான் பார்ப்பாங்க 9s. ஆனா 5s அப்படி கிடையாது. மேக்ஸிமம் காம்ப்ளெக்சிட்டி இருக்கு. Massive conflict. 9s don't have much knowledge. 9s ரொம்ப knowledge கிடையாது. Unless they are old and experienced, they may have some knowledge. But normally அவங்க ரொம்ப knowledge கிடையாது. 5s full of knowledge. The spiritual 5s want to leave knowledge. So 9s, 5 of all the types, 5 are the most mind-oriented, thinking-oriented, knowledge-based people. 9s are not anything like that. Now there was a time 4 or 5 years back, I used to sit at home and think. Simply, I would think for 12-13 hours a day. It was just hard work, but I was to think. My mother used to look at me and say, I don't want to be like him. I don't want that, you know, like straight up சொல்லுவாங்க இங்கே. அவ்வளவுதான் on the conflict. Okay, we change gears slightly. The Enneagram is also talking about integration, transformation, evolution, and resolution. We talked about types. I gave you a nice idea as to what types do, what are the conflicts. We all have types within us. We all have a default type. I am a 5, he may be an 8, he may be a 7. We all have a default type. But the real spirituality is in having all types expressed in us. எந்த ஒரு ஃபிக்சேஷன் இல்லாத எல்லா டைப்புக்கும் ஆக்சஸ் இருந்தால் தான் அதுதான் ஹையஸ்ட் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவாலிட்டி. அது வந்து யாருக்குமே அது கிடையாது. But I know from literature that probably in Western countries there are some people who have completely eliminated their fixations. எப்படி கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி கம்ப்ளீட்டா நாலேஜ் அவர் மைண்ட்ல இருந்து எடுத்துட்டாரோ அது மாதிரி ஃபிக்சேஷன்ஸ் எடுத்தவங்க இருக்காங்க. அது மாதிரி ரேரா இருக்காங்க. முக்காவாசி ஃபிக்சேஷன்ஸ் கொஞ்சமாவது இருக்கும், டிஃபால்ட் டைப்ஸ் தான் இருக்கும். எல்லா டைப்ஸும் அக்சஸ் பண்றது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். But that's a goal for all of you. Maybe take 10 years, 20 years, but you can have it as a goal for all of you. It's not practical. I am not recommending this for organizations. Organizations have to look at conflicts and see how they can understand and start synergizing people. But if you are interested in spirituality, then the goal is to reduce fixations, to remove fixations completely. Alright, what is evolution? Very often in failing companies, you see that work and thinking and relationship are not equal. I have seen it again and again. Repeatedly, I have seen it in so many companies. ரொம்ப low level வேலை பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. அப்படி பண்ணா it's okay if there's money and if that's your level, it's okay. But if the company is trying to develop a drug, if it's developing a new vaccine and people are working at a low level, it won't work. The company will fail. There will be massive conflict. So evolution is important. You cannot operate at the level of an undergraduate student, your scientific ability. You have to operate at a good level. Only then the company will likely do some research, find out, get a product, market it, and make some money and survive. If you don't do, if you are not evolved, if your work is not evolved or your relationship is not evolved, இப்போ கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கும் போது அவங்க பண்ணாக்கிட்ட எப்படி பேசுங்க அதே மாதிரி 40 வயசுல பேசினா that's not good. That will give rise to conflicts. You have to evolve in relationship with your mother, with your wife, with your daughter, with anyone. Same with your thinking. You got to evolve your thinking. If you don't do that, it's a massive source of conflict. Why is it relevant here? Because Enneagram teaches me that evolution is nothing but same type 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but they're moving to a different higher level quality. The psychological structure of the enterprise may be advanced enough may not be advanced enough to deliver the products and services it is attempting. If a person observes oneself, certain qualities will keep pressing on. நமக்குள்ள பயங்கரமா ஒரு ஃபோர்ஸா வரும். A 7, for example, may want to stare at women, or he may have such compelling ideas about the future. அதை negate பண்ணணும். But those things will keep coming. But we have to be very carefully attending to ourselves. We have to observe ourselves. We have to watch ourselves. இந்த மாதிரி நெகட்டிவா வராத கொஞ்சம் பாசிட்டிவா எவால்வ் ஆகிறதுக்கு நம்ம we have to do inner work. That is the idea behind the Enneagram, that's the idea behind my talk today. We have to work on ourselves to remove that conflict that evolutionary pressure puts on us. Year 1, we start as a sexually shy, evolve to a perfectionist, and then to a right-wrong ethicist, then to a competent leader, then to a change reformer. This evolution is needed, and it need not take time. In the past, it took some time. ஒரு 16 வயசுல செக்ஷுவலி ஷையா இருந்தாங்கன்னா அவங்க ஒரு 55 வயசுல ரிஃபார்மர் ஆவாங்க. பட் இப்போ வந்து if you do inner work, if you put yourself in the right passages, then you can evolve faster. If you are interested, or if you want to stay right as a right and wrong ethicist, it's called a resolution. No problem. If you don't want to evolve, that's also okay. But normally in society, in world, in companies, evolution is needed. If there's no evolution, Indian cricket team, see how much they have evolved compared to Sachin Tendulkar. Today, Vijaykumar is playing at a much higher level. His shots and everything is completely different. So that evolution is needed to keep up with the whole thing. Okay? So the mechanics, the details get. Oh, this is
previous slide.
Your 4 may start as a self-absorbed. She may start looking at what is lacking, and then the compassion and empathy. This is advanced quality. Leaders need it. Empathy and compassion is needed. So I've been a 4 also, along with being a 5, and I saw a lot of change. There was a time when I was looking at what is missing. There was a time when I was self-absorbed. Then I started becoming compassionate. So I worked on myself. That gave me some evolution. That's needed. Everybody's got to do that. And 9 may start with playing roles in the family. ஒரு aunt மாதிரி இருப்பாங்க, அம்மானா அம்மா மாதிரி இருப்பாங்க. They start playing roles, and they may be and they may be family oriented. Then they become a doer slowly, and then they become an elder statesman. So that evolution is needed. Integration. If you have a bunch of people, if you're solving a problem like water scarcity in Chennai, okay, and if you're focusing on people, nee the panniya na the panniya nee valatri nee and the motor potiya, if you are operating at that level and missing out at the higher level, there's no water coming into the household in the first place. There's no rain. There's no proper distribution system. And here you are telling people whether you switch off the valve or you switch off the motor. So if you leave out the bigger level and focus on the smaller level, that's disintegration. That's a sure formula for disaster in a company. If you find people disintegrating, not integrating, the company most likely will fail. Unless it's a very big company with lots of money, they may pull along for some time. But if it's a small company, people are not integrated, that's a sure sign for disaster. The mechanics, the details get precedence, the source of the work gets left out. This is disintegration. Lack of integration is a definite pathway to disaster. Integration is growth and must be pursued steadily. Kumar Matnabdallah already said, Enneagram, we need continuous integration and transformation. That stayed in my mind. Companies have to do that. Koncha slow ana kuda koncha disintegrate aagala koncha evolve evolution illana kuda takkane evolve padiyum takkane integrate padiyum panna companies or organizations can survive. So many examples I have seen. If you don't integrate, if you don't evolve, you will definitely go into trouble. And if you don't have money, you will shut up. Coming to the Enneagram, the 6 integrating to 3 gets career orientation. I didn't talk about the movement so much, but this is a little bit of an idea that gives you what integration is. The 6, sorry. The 6 integrating to 3 get career rotation. 6 are normally very conservative, focus on the family, stay with mediocrity, little bit income is enough, that kind of people. If they trust to a 3, if they integrate to a 3, they get career orientation. Because 3s are very careeristic people. They want career more than anything else. The 9 integrating to 3 gets action. 9s are so inactive. They will not act. No matter what you do, they cannot decide, they cannot act. But if they move to a 3, and this movement integration is possible only when you are secure or only when you are stressed. Either stressed or movement kadaikum, secure or movement kadaikum. So we all have to research. Enna panna stress panna. Stress not unhealthy stress I'm talking about, not that stress. This is healthy stress. And this is healthy security, not a false sense of security. Either two panna movement kadaikum. In the movement, anything the slides about just because these movements you don't get in life, there's so much conflict. I want to leave my job, I'm not happy with my wife, the community is so abusive. All these problems come in large part because we are not integrating, we are not evolving. Once a 4 who's having a problem in the company, not happy with the management and all that, if he integrates to a 1, that's completely different. He becomes much more capable in handling the politics and all that. Or if he transforms to a 3, he becomes much more capable in handling people. So just because they cannot do that, there's so much conflict. So movement is important, integration is important. Before integrating to a 2 gets network and people. Normally they are not network people, but 2 network people not right. Someone say something? Okay. Before integrating to 1 gets ability to engage in public discourses and action based on that and what should be. Normally what is the force? On the 1 integrate panana, the what should be correct. What should be venu? The legal system is all based on what should be only. The 5 integrating to 8 gets grounded. 5 is normally very airy. And they are think ideas, and we will 8 and the groundedness varum. Stability. So they have to integrate to 8. If they don't, then so much conflict. The 7 integrating to 1 gets check on correctness. 1s are about correctness and all that. 7 going. Ken Williams in England, New Zealand cricket captain. He's got a little bit of 7 and 1 going on. That ball catch me up and another one. So I disturb and the Kuru Budila. So that's because there's a 1 going on there. Transformation. So I talked about evolution, transformation, integration. This is the final piece. A complete change in the portfolio of a company or an individual is called a transformation. A work and money-oriented person who is not going anywhere in life may need to transform to a simpler life of routine work and relationship. I have a friend in Bangalore. He calls me 5 times a day. So many times I've told him, why you don't have money to buy idli dosa? Why don't you find a job? Why don't you live a simpler life? No, I want to make money. I want to make 1 crore, 2 crore. He does not have money to buy food. And the transformation is now I have seen him for the last 5-6 years. His brother is abusing him. His brother's wife is abusing him. His uncle is abusing him. But still he takes all that and he keeps on continuing as a 4. He is not able to integrate a 1 or 3. He has it in him deep down. I want to excel அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். ஆனா பண்ண முடியாதனால because the personality has such a grip on you. அவனுக்கு 4A வந்துட்டு இருக்கும். A company making products may completely change to offering training services. That's a transformation many companies need. Without a need to transform, people may be stuck at where they are. This is the most important common problem in life. People are stuck. They are not able to move. They are not able to advance and grow in their lives. They cannot transform because the personality has such a grip on it. You keep repeating what you're doing, keep liking what you're doing, but it's not healthy. It's not good. Still, people do it. Without a need to transform, people are stuck where they are. Enneagram examples. 9 transforming to a 1 brings more doing, a lot of understanding, right or wrong thinking, objectivity, larger good processes, எல்லாம் benefit கிடைக்கும். My mother is a 9, I told you. She transformed, she got in some 1 qualities to transform ஆனாங்க. So many qualities she started getting. She was average 9. From that she became much more competent at the age of 70, 80 because of transforming to a 1. The 6 transforming to a 7 brings playfulness and commercial. 6 கொஞ்சம் சீரியஸா இருப்பாங்க, family give you worried, anxious எல்லாம் இருப்பாங்க. கொஞ்சம் 7 போனா கொஞ்சம் playfulness தான் வரும், கொஞ்சம் ஜாலிலாம் வரும். அப்பதான் அது பண்ணணும். 8 moving to 9 and then to 1 they become peaceful first and then a good person. So the transformations are needed in life. What can we do to evolve? What can we do to integrate? We need to work on ourselves. We have to look at the divisions in our mind. If you understand the divisions, Krishnamurti says, if you understand the divisions, then there is integration. If you understand the form, there's so much form. Hinduism is full of forms. If you all that. If you understand the form, there will be transformation. That is the way we integrate and transform in our lives. Okay. Now, that is all about Enneagram really, but this is some stuff that I have taken from Krishnamurti. Okay, and that's okay, I think, because these are all sources of conflict. So you may say, desire about everybody. What are you talking? You have to reduce your desires. Desire is a huge source of conflict, and it is entirely impossible to live life where you have reduced your desires, where you have reduced your pleasures, and that you have reduced your measures. I want that house. A simple house and a nominal income may be enough, but I want that bigger house. I want to marry her. I want to buy this car. Desire and pleasure and measure keep coming all the time. The whole Western philosophy is all based on desire only. If you look at some of the world Western psychologists and philosophers, they say desire is the basis of Americans' law. Only in India, probably maybe China or some place like that, we have thoughts the other way around, and we say desire should not be there. In spirituality, there is no desire at all. So we got to understand the way to reduce our desires, our pleasures and measures, is understand desire as much as possible. If you have a system like the Enneagram, the more you try to use it to understand your people, your relationships, the mechanics of the world, the more you understand, your desire and pleasure will come down. This is sure. It has happened to me. I have very little desire. I'll show you at the end of the slide. I'll talk about myself a little bit. But I have done it and people have done it. And why am I putting it here? Because desire, pleasure and measure are a huge source of conflict. So, in a typical work environment, it's all about getting promotions and going to the higher position and earning a top salary, buying a big car. It's all there. If you can imagine a world where that whole thing is not there, because it gives rise to so much conflict, then we live in a completely different planet. So desire, pleasure, measure are a huge source of conflict. If you look at our lives, it's always knowledge. This is what I'm giving right now is also knowledge only. But Krishnamurti Solvar, first you need knowledge to be one. So I'm telling you the same thing. But normally in our lives, it's all knowledge. We are not looking at the reality at all. Tradition, society, educational system, family, these are all giving us knowledge. If you look at my mother, don't sit there, don't do this, don't do that. It's all continuous knowledge. She's 80 years old. She's not transformed. She's still living the usual life, full of knowledge. If you have knowledge, you cannot look at reality. And in organizations, and in other places, you got to look at the reality. Company is failing. How many times CEOs say that? I worked in 4 or 5 companies. I've never seen a CEO say this is not a good company. things are not healthy, I'm not happy, we got to do something. They won't look at the reality. They're so caught up in the things that they're usually doing. They're full of knowledge. We will go into IP, we will go into public offering, and we will build a different infrastructure, or we will get more cyclists. We are the best one over here. They won't for the life of it say that this is where it is, this is the company, it's not doing well. Solomon, because of knowledge, they cannot look at reality. Going against what is effort. We're all used to thinking if you put effort, you'll come up in life. No way. Effort is an abomination, said J. Krishnamurti. Now, effort I work, but I don't put effort anymore. Effort here means going against what is, going against reality. That we don't want. It's a huge source of conflict. The more effort you make, the more going against what is you're doing, it's a huge source of conflict. We gotta understand effort. Work is okay, but effort not okay. Effort is an abomination, said J. Krishnamurti. What should be? Type 1s know this very well. Their mind is always full of what should be. What should be conflict. It may not be a huge conflict or whatever, but even in the household, with your mother, with your wife, with your daughter, there will be conflict because he or she is constantly thinking in terms of what should be. As long as we have all those things, what should be conflict. We have to understand what should be. We have to understand ourselves. We have to understand the psychological structure of the society. Only then we can free ourselves. This is once again a huge thing. You all have beliefs, values, and fixations. So whenever I get a coaching client, the first thing I look at is, what are your beliefs? When I was young, I had beliefs, and that ruined me. I was in a bad shape because of all my beliefs. Beliefs in conflict is there. There was a time about 5 or 6 years back, 2014, I had very little beliefs. With all my work on the Enneagram and Krishnamurti, I had removed most of my beliefs. That I was able to observe myself. Beliefs for freedom varum. Beliefs regarding conflict is there. I cannot say this more. Values. We are all used to thinking in terms of values. Respect, integrity, and passion, and all that kind of stuff. But if you have values, and if the values don't evolve, maybe it's okay to have some values, but values have to evolve. If you're stuck in the same old values that you had when you were young, even when you were 50 years old, that will result in tremendous conflict. So next time you see someone, this is something very practical, even though it's from Krishnamurti. You find a subordinate, he has a conflict, he's got problems, he's not working very well. Look at his values, look at his fixations, look at his beliefs, look at his mental body. These 4 things. அவன் எப்படி திங்க் பண்றான், அவனோட beliefs எப்படி இருக்கு, அவன் values எப்படி இருக்கு, அவனோட fixations எப்படி இருக்கு. Fixationனா திருப்பி சொல்றதே சொல்லிட்டானே, fixation எனக்கு சந்தேகமா இருக்கு. திருப்பி அதே சொல்லிட்டு இருக்காங்க. So திருப்பி அதே பண்ற மாதிரி பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தா that's a fixation. It's a mental thing. It's a cognitive thing. Fixation அப்படியே விட்டுட்டா conflict வரும். Go back to the Enneagram structure. Staying at the same point in an unhealthy way is a fixation. If you resolve, if it's healthy, it's a resolution. That's good to have. But if it's unhealthy, it's a fixation. So next time you see someone, your subordinate, or your super, or your boss, whoever it may be, doesn't matter. Look at his beliefs, look at his values, look at his fixations, look at his mental model. If it is old, that's a sure sign for conflict. I've seen it repeatedly in so many places. In all my life, the last so many years, I've seen only unhealthy people. That's why I'm a master expert in conflict. I've seen so many unhealthy people because of their beliefs. Belief. Hinduism, Christianity, beliefs அது இருந்துட்டு அது இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் கான்ஃப்ளிக்ட் தான். அது போயிட்டு கொஞ்சம் ஃப்ரீயான மைண்ட் ஆனாதான் you are in a much better position in life. These are modern trends. These days, young people, they want to grow. Gone are those days where you could go to a company, simply work for 40 years, earn a small salary, live with your family. Those things are not there. You got to grow. This has come to becoming important in the last 20 years. And if a company doesn't offer opportunities for growth, people are leaving. So what will we see? One later, opportunity. So growth is an important reason why not growing is the important reason for conflict, why people leave companies, why people leave relationships. I have known women telling me that, I'm not able to grow with my husband. So that's all, you got to leave. So growth is becoming important now. Relationship, it's a huge source of conflict. Everything revolves around relationship in Krishnamurti. So I'll repeat it. Relationship, you can operate in life. I cannot overemphasize it. You got to have proper relationship. You got to have emotional intelligence. You cannot have too much knowledge or beliefs in your mind, and then you will see your relationship shaping up very well. Once a relationship shapes up very well between your mother, with your wife, with your daughter, with your colleagues, with your community, then you are a much better leader. If you just have good relationship, that is already a token for becoming a good leader, I would say. Work. We all want to work. Some of us have a huge desire for work. What if everyone works hard in this country? That was probably the idea in America. And what a mess it created. So, work is a huge source of conflict. If you just work, in the purest sense, work is integration. That nobody does. People work for money, people work for promotions, people work for buying a car, people work for buying a bungalow. And once you have that kind of system going on in you, if you work for something, then there's always a huge amount of conflict. I had a friend, Indian American, he told me I work hard in my company. Then I spoke to him a little bit, he said, I asked him, do you become envious? Because type 4 he was. I asked him, do you become, sometimes I become envious. What's the point? He's 53 years old. You're still envious like a young girl. So what is the point? You gotta grow. You gotta have good relationships. Eventually he's now leaving the company, they are funding him for some other project. But even at a young, when I told him that he was a little bit envious, he got a little upset with me. He discontinued the coaching. But so at least, but the important thing is, what are we working for? Thank you. What are we working for? This is the question you got to ask. And what I will tell you, all of you here is, the last so many slides that I showed you, desire, pleasure, measure, knowledge, effort, what should be, beliefs, values, fixations, growth, relationship, you got to examine yourself. You have to look at yourself, ask questions. Observe yourself simply. Observe, ask questions. Ask questions to other people. Inquiry and understanding will reduce all these things. I'll show that in the next slide. But if you want a method, how do we go about changing our lives? Why should we change? That's very important to understand. You want to live a better life, you want to live a much better planet. But if you want to have a method, then inquiry and understanding is very good. So, if you look at the West and the East, Western countries, they talk about healthy conflicts. For them, conflict is okay to have. Okay? Conflicts are healthy, நம்ம சொல்லுவாங்க. Conflict is growth ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. I leave it to you. I don't know the answer. I leave it to you for you to decide. Whether you want to go with the West and have healthy conflicts, whether you want to go with the West, go with the conflict, think conflict is growth, that's up to you. Probably it is. When two people are conflicted, there's something going on inside. ஏதோ உள்ள நடக்குது. அது open up பண்ணணும். Completely open it up. Look at the fundamentals. Maybe there will be growth. Maybe the Westerners are correct. But my understanding is, I always understand the conflict internally. There are inner conflicts. That is what I'm concerned about more. The inner and the outer is a wave, said Krishnamurti, and that's my experience also. If you're internally clear, if you're internally not very conflicted, then you impact the outer in a much better way. Then you are in a position to look at outer conflicts. If there are not many outer conflicts, you are internally much clearer. So it works both ways. Outer means learning, working, thinking, doing stuff, achieving and stuff like that. Internal means self-inquiry. If you are able to do these two things well, remembering that the inner and the outer is a wave, then you are in a much better position. So my methodology is understand the conflict as much as you can. And this whole program is about just that. Hopefully at the end of this conversation, I would have delivered you some idea as to how to approach conflicts internally and externally. If I have done that, then it's good. If I have not done that, we'll talk again. In the East, there is complete integration without conflict. This is what I like personally, and this is what I'm going for. I don't want any conflict. Completely, I want to stay out of it. The Enneagram does offer a mechanism by which you can do that. There is a way by which you can live without any fixation, disintegration, or conformation. It's entirely possible. You got to work. But there are, just like I told you some time back, that people have done away with their fixations completely, it may be possible to completely integrate in your lives. The yeast may be correct after all. And so you're completely aware, you're totally aware, there's no conflict at all. Conflict dissolves. This is again Eastern wisdom. This is very high quality spiritual wisdom. We all have to try it in our lives. May not be very practical, may not be something you can apply in your lives, in your work, in your career, but you got to try it in our lives. So, what are the methods? How do I go about doing it? All this understanding is okay. All this knowledge you gain is okay. But can you give me some tools, some mechanisms by which you can affect this? Get to the root of the problem. That is what the Enneagram is trying to do. The 1 and 6 conflict that I showed you, it's getting at the root. So next time you see someone in your office, there's a conflict. Get to the root of the problem. By all means do it. Nothing wrong with it. No, you may consume a little bit more time. That is the final solution. Don't look at it superficially. Don't resolve it. Understand the basics and then resolve it. Inquiry and understanding will relieve you of most of your problems. The desire, the measure, the pleasure, the knowledge, the effort. The more you inquire about yourself, the world, the relationships, the people, the more understanding you gain about the world, the mechanism. Why is the politician angry? Why is the actor snapping at someone? Once you develop the understanding, conflicts will reduce. Changing the lens is a term that I borrowed from Western Enneagram methods. What this means is, once you spend time on the Enneagram and Krishnamurti and all that, there's a completely different way in which you look at people. By that, I don't mean typing people. He's 1, he's 2, not like that. That's part of the game. But you will develop a different framework by which you can approach your life. You are not afraid anymore. You are not fearful anymore. The change of lens is very useful to have in life. You are not typing people anymore. But we are not playing the parlor game. We have gone much beyond that. We have gone much past that. That ability you need to gain. Evolving and staying with what is. That helps. If you are a very evolved person, you are closer to what is. And when you are closer to what is, the onslaught of what should be and what can be won't come. So the more evolved you are, it's much better. These are very useful qualities. So anytime you find someone who's got all these qualities, love, interest, and compassion, he's probably not very conflicted. He can be a good leader. So, personal journey. I was clinically depressed for 3 years when I started my graduate school. I was just starting my PhD and I was depressed for 3 years. With that, I used to work, I used to struggle, I used to go work very hard, study all the courses. I didn't do very well, but it took a big toll on me. I came out of it eventually. Then again, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 1998. I took lithium carbonate. Again, mental health issues. Again, in 2006, I was diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder. But now I've worked slowly. I've come out of most of my problems. I'm fairly healthy. I do think a lot. I'm a 5. I do overthinking. That problem is still there. But I've done away with most of my mental issues. It is entirely important to realize that it is possible. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to get in touch with some spiritual teachings. You can come off the mental health issues. It's a huge problem right now. West or East, everybody is talking about it. Workplace is a huge source of stress. You all have workplace-related mental problems, but there is a way to come out of it and live a different life. I leave it to you to figure out how to do that. I was discussing with the West. I didn't like the education at all. I was very conflicted. It was not a very mediocre education. It was a top school, #1 department in the world. But I found most people had ego. The professors all had ego. It was just ego that was driving them. I never found any compassion or love or anything like that. I only found abuse. My advisor abused me psychologically. I did not know it at that time. I was very young. I was very determined to do my PhD and all that. But it was only later I realized that she was abusing me. And it took years and years for me to come out of it. I didn't go for a career or a family. I told you already that I spent most of my time in research, machine learning, organizations, Enneagram, Krishnamurti, drug delivery. That is what I spent most of my time. I don't have much income. My income is very low, but I'm just doing fine. I don't have some of the problems that people have. That's okay with me. I'm highly evolved. So in the Richard Barrett scale, I'm at a service leadership level. I don't know what to do with it. I want to do something to the world. I'm personally somewhat stable and I'm okay, but I want to do something. So I want to use my evolution and I'm getting in touch with people to see if I can help the world in some way. That's something I'm doing. Highly reduced fear, desire, and conflicts. I don't have that many conflicts anymore. I don't have much fear, I don't have much desire. Not only is it my observation, but based on literature, what some of the books that I read, also based on my observation made by my friends. So I don't have much, so all this work has at least paid off a little bit, I guess. And I'm close to what is. I don't have too much what should be or what can be going on. What I'm interested from now on, Enneagram, Krishnamurti will continue to stay in the radar. I'm interested in social transformations. I'm getting in touch with people to see if I can do something. I do some coaching, that gives me a little bit of money to buy idli dosa. I'm interested in consciousness. I want to experience pure consciousness. I want to raise my consciousness, be a better leader. I'm interested in leadership because naturally I became a leader. It's not like something I wanted it or it's a career strategy or anything like that. It just so happened that I developed a different kind of leadership. So I want to use it to help people. And I am interested in spirituality a little bit. Not completely yet, but I am interested in what is it to be thoughtless. Completely, like Krishnamurti, without any thought. With pure perception he used to talk. What is it? I would like to explore one day. Okay? Thank you very much.
So how do we ascertain ourselves what type I am?
You can look at yourself. If you observe yourself.
It seems to be 2 or 3 types are coming into my
There are
mind.
3 answers. Krishnamurti would say just observe yourself. Just look at yourself and you know what type you are. 2, there are books available. The moment you read the description, you will know what type you are. 3, there are tests available. There's a company called Integrative Enneagram in South Africa. It makes you pay some money, but it gives you the most accurate test. Perfectly, it will tell you what type you are, and it will send you a nice booklet. What all things you can do, how you can improve yourself, and what is the communication, what are the strengths, what are the goals, it will tell you, give you a complete idea. So such companies are also there. Okay, sorry.
Any further questions, gentlemen?
I hear that there is some people which also can tell us what type we are.
Maybe. I also heard about such things. Here and there I hear about such things. Maybe it is there, yeah.
That is called brain mapping.
Very nice.
Yeah, they take different things.
Okay.
They read
Okay.
the mind and tell you what you are.
Yeah, there are many systems like that, but I personally find Enneagram to be incredibly powerful. It's a very intense tool, very powerful, very useful, very helpful to people. I don't know about other systems very much, but this really helps. So many people have benefited by it. Millions of people have developed their relationship through Enneagram, so it's a good system to use. You can try other systems, but if you are really serious in your life, I would suggest this.
How to proceed further? Like we have like in an hour.
Yeah.
How we know what it is.
So, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
If you find some time, you can read about the Enneagram. There are books available. You can read about it.
Sure.
More than anything else, you can actually start working. You can look at yourself. What are your conflicts? That doesn't require much supervision or anything like that.
Yes.
Next time you are in a company, you find conflicts between subordinates. Just look at what is going on. Just observe. Just watch. Ask questions. Do some reflection, and you will become an expert in no time. If you still want help of books and tests, that's also okay to do. No problem.
Should we do it directly or you think like we need some coaching?
That is also one mechanism you could explore. There are coaches, many Enneagram coaches are available in the world. Even in India, there are coaches available. Not many, but Western countries, Europe and America, there are many. You could get a good Indian coach, but how good they really are, it depends. Depending on who they learned it from. See, I did not learn any from any teacher. I did all by my research. I have a PhD degree and I did all the research. So I became confident in my own right. But other people, they would have learned it from someone. And if they learned it from someone, that influence they will carry. So they may have an organizational influence, or they may have a theology influence, or they may have a spirituality influence. So you may not get exactly what you want. So you have to look around.
Yeah.
But if you can get a good coach, Enneagram coach, nothing like.
Yeah, I went through Dale Carnegie, the leadership course.
Mm-hmm.
Then they agree, disagree. There are a lot of issues which are not directly related to Enneagram.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought that. But
I would
it's
say that read as much as possible. There is no conflict between the Enneagram and other systems.
Right.
Whatever comes your way, just go even brain mapping or a Dale Carnegie, just go into it.
Right.
Superficially, you can do many things. But if you want to really get deeper,
Yes.
then there may be some conflict between different systems.
Exactly.
You may have to be aware of it. You have to decide which one to go for and how to integrate the conflict. That's another matter.
Right.
But superficially, outwardly, if you want to really run your work life and manage your family and do your conflict resolution at work, then you can read as many systems as you can.
Sure. like you have been saying, your mother repeatedly used to say something, and the process of evolving. What I feel like our Hindu philosophy, myths and philosophies, all these things, whether they are doing this act of perfectionism and guiding them, evolving people into the right path, is it anything like that?
Yeah, I see what your question is. Again, the same answer I gave to the other gentleman. If you want to explore Hinduism, don't go by superficially reading some books or going from family information and all that. You get into the regulation. Maybe the Advaita Vedanta has got some deep stuff. Even Krishnamurti used to read some Vedanta stuff. He was such a great man who never needed any knowledge. Even he used to read some things. So look into any material, go deep into it. Enneagram I did not superficially conclude because Ken Wilber said so. I spent years and years and decided it was a good system. So many people have spent Krishnamurti, they are so conflicted. They have left him, they become very angry with the system. But I spent years and years, I benefited a lot, I also got into some trouble, and I came out of it. So any system, you have to spend time, read it, learn it, find out for yourself whether it is useful or not. Don't go by superficially what you're learning. Go into it, spend some time into it, spend 10 years. It will be worth it, surely. For the remaining another 20 years, you are taken care of. And it will be interesting also. Transformation is always, need not be a painful process. It can be an exciting process also.
See, the beliefs or faith, you said beliefs should not be there, right? So every system says to have faith in you to make a move.
Yeah, the answer is very simple. Enneagram allows faith. Type 1 people, they have a lot of faith.
Yeah, of course, without
Other
faith
people
you
also
cannot.
have faith. So you are okay to have faith. This is just my view. I don't have much faith. I don't have much beliefs, but that is because I spend a lot of time on Krishnamurti and I am type 5 myself. But you are free to have your faith. If faith helps you, go for it. But look at that, you will say, what is the purpose of me learning this from you? Look at what is going on. Faith உங்களுக்கு என்ன பண்ணுது? ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுதா? பாசிட்டிவா இருக்கா? ஹெல்தியா இருக்கா? இல்லனா உங்க இன்டெலிஜென்ஸ் குறையுதா? அதெல்லாம் பாருங்க. Intelligence டல் ஆற மாதிரி இருந்ததுன்னா அது மாதிரி faith வேணுமா அப்படிங்கற क्वेश्चन வரணும்.
But
So
faith
examine
within,
yourself. You do work
faith,
yourself.
no, faith within is important, no? Faith on me.
Yeah, at one level, yes.
Then about our, you said efforts. See, Muyachi, they said everything is effort is tangentially. You said efforts should not be there. Is it right?
Effort இருந்தா perception இருக்காது. Effort completely நிறுத்தினாதான் we can perceive people. We can look at people. When we look at people, when we perceive people, only then the conflict ends. Perception இல்லாத வரைக்கும் conflict இருந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். Effort இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் perception வராது. Work பண்ணுங்க. That is the solution I have. What I learned from Enneagram and Krishnamurti is you can work. Krishnamurti worked all his life. Full life he worked. Work is okay, but not effort. Don't go against what is. Understand what is, look at what is, and transform what is by your work and your thinking and your all that. Going against what is what I'm saying is not good. That psychological effort. அதுதான் நான் சொல்றது. Work பண்ணுங்க. தாராளமா work பண்ணுங்க. Work is integration. Work is transformation. But not effort. If you still believe muyachi everything அப்படின்னா you have to examine your beliefs. That belief you have to examine.
Then coming back to desire, very fundamental, right? No one can ditch a desire, and without desire you cannot move in your life.
Yeah, but you have to examine that assumption. No one's only, but there are people who are story come out of the
Maybe very, see, if you seek a normal car, maybe in that corner may not have desire, right? So it's a normal course of life. People always, what makes move is a desire.
Yeah, but you have to see, let me give you an answer this way. Inside all of us is also this thing that we want to grow up and look at higher things. It's all there in all humans. There comes a point in time when you sit back, relax, reflect, and when you look at the world around you, then you really start questioning, is all this desire really needed? Do I have to make all this effort? Can I live a different life? அப்படின்ற கொஸ்டின் நிறைய பேருக்கு வரும். கொஞ்சம் ரிலாக்ஸ் பண்ணி இந்த ஒர்க் லைஃப்லேருந்து கொஞ்சம் வெளியில் வந்து கொஞ்சம் புக்ஸ்லாம் படித்து கொஞ்சம் திங்க் பண்ணி கொஞ்சம் லைஃப்பை வேறு மாதிரி பண்ணிக்கலாமான்னு யோசனை வந்ததுன்னா slowly you will start your inner work. As you spend time on your inner work, and these days there are ways in which you don't have to spend much time also. you can completely do away with your desires and passions. You have to make that kind of a trigger has to be there in you. You have to sit back and ponder upon life. There's something higher that is there waiting for all of us. And the desire, okay. Other one desire panniko. But normal desire vechirukka paru, adu irundha conflict irukku.
Without desire, we will be directionless.
Yeah. You have to examine all that. It's the same question I have. A lot of people, I know that these questions will come. Even when I was making these slides, I was thinking, these people are not going to accept it at all. I knew that very well. But I have to present it.
See, there is no purpose. Everybody start thinking like that, the world will not move, right?
Yeah, that is your thinking. But see, desire has created a lot of problems. And people are realizing it now. There was a time 50, 100 years back, desire was okay in the Western countries. They have Ford or Bill Gates, all those people developed their huge enterprises. But today we live in a world where the planet is in a bad shape. Global warming and all these things, and hurricanes and typhoons are all creating a havoc in life. The soil is deteriorating so much. Jaggi was talked so much about soil. We are in a bad shape right now. So we have to ask the questions, do we still need desire to build all those big enterprises? Or can we do away with a much simpler and easier life? So time to ask that question. So to answer your question, don't assume that you will become directionless or anything. Don't assume that. Don't assume that you will become purposeless. Examine your life. Try it and see what happens. You can answer your calling. Within each of us is a calling. We have to do this in life. People will calling you. That will propagate your life. Otherwise, you will not do. Desire na then சொன்னேன் ஒழிய நீங்க வேலையே செய்ய மாட்டீங்க உட்கார்ந்துருவீங்க நான் சொல்லலையே. Calling you இருக்கும். Self realization இருக்கும். Self actualization இருக்கும். All that will promote your work. Desire தான் இருக்காது. நிறைய பேர் பர்பஸ் தான் இருக்கு. நிறைய பேர் பர்பஸ் ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஆயிடுச்சு. பர்பஸ் வச்சு போயிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அவங்களுக்கு டிசைர் இருக்கா இல்லையான்னு தெரியல. So something else will come. Desire தான் இல்லைன்னு சொன்னேன் ஒழிய மற்றதெல்லாம் இல்லைன்னு சொல்லலையே. We can evolve as a human being.
டிசைர் என்ன மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு சொசைட்டியில் அப்படின்னா அதாவது ரெண்டு வீடு பத்தாது.
அதுதான் வேணாம்னு சொல்லுது. அதே நாள் ரொம்ப போயிட்டே இருக்க ஒரு டைரக்ஷன்.
எஸ்
அது வேறங்க.
Lust is not only there.
ரெண்டு வீடு நீங்க லஸ்ட்.
We are from industry. See, the growth is not automatic. It should be intentional. So for the intentional growth, we should have desire and we need to put a lot of efforts to reach the goal. Otherwise, in a company, it is very difficult. Na?
Yeah. So you have to question whether you want to live a very practical life, otherwise you want to come out and live a transformed life. These teachings are for people who want to transform themselves and people who want to evolve. If you want to live a very mundane, worldly life, that's okay, go for it. You don't have to ask me why are you saying all this is conflicting with me. Okay, you continue, no problem. I'm not imposing this on anybody. But if you want to look for something higher than what you're currently living, you have to necessarily follow these teachings. Or you have to examine yourself thoroughly.
Thank you, Doctor. Thanks for a very innovative, I would say, a thought-provoking session today on looking inner self and how we engineer ourselves for better development. So, with that, we would like to felicitate the speaker for the day as a token of appreciation from our side. So, we request Mr. S.V. Ranganathan, Commercial Director, Sri Venkatacharthi Alloys, to felicitate our speaker for the day with a traditional Angavastram, please. A round of applause, gentlemen. Chief Operating Officer of Madras Engineering Foundry Division, to felicitate our speaker with a traditional tanjore painting.
I'll come back and check that for 1 year if you've done your work or not. I'm not going to leave it. This is the homework. I've done it. I'll check back with you in 1 year. Without progress, but I didn't let them happen. Powerful teachings. ஏன்னா அதனால நிறைய பிரச்சனை வரும். நீங்க if you want to get into it, we make sure that you really love what you're doing.
The founder of IIF school.
ஆமா.
You are he's got many schools. One in Rockford, England, one in America, California, one in Switzerland, several in India. He's a huge man. Very big.
So thank you, gentlemen. With that, we've come to the end of the evening. We've had an interesting seminar today on the topic Enneagram, a tool for conflict management. We are sure the contents of the talk had a lot of takeaways for our audience. We would like to thank our speaker for the day, Dr.V. Vijaykumar, scientist Enneagram, a specialist in psycho-spiritual and service leadership, for taking time off his busy schedule and making us rich with knowledge. Further, we'd like to thank all the members who joined us today. Thank you so much for joining us on time, and I'm sure you had a wonderful learning experience. We from the Chennai chapter will be conducting many such interesting webinars and seminars, and like our chairman said in the beginning, we have our 37 chapter day celebrations coming up. On the 19th, we have our Iron Symposium 5th edition, and the 37th chapter day celebrations on 24th. We also have quiz programs, both regional and chapter levels. So requesting all your support and your participation in all our programs. Thank you so much, gentlemen.